Hi, my name's Rusty Johnson. In 1994, I purchased the first motorcycle that I had ever purchased, brand new. It was an American-made 1994 ATK 605 Nevada Rally Limited Edition. Frank White, the CEO of ATK Motorcycles, told me that a couple of guys from Husaberg and Husqvarna, in combination with Ron Greiway, who had formerly been an editor at Cycle World, played a role in the development of this motorcycle. Let's go take a look at this motorcycle. I've got one in my garage.
Here's my 1994 ATK 605. It came with a Rotax 598cc 4-stroke motor. The front forks were from WP. They had compression and rebound adjustment, and the same with the shock. It was also by WP with compression and rebound adjustments. The hubs are from Talon. They're billet aluminum from the UK, both front and back. The rims are DID rims. Now, one of the things I like about this bike is the gas tank. It's claimed to hold 4.2 gallons. I think in reality it's probably usable, it's probably closer to 3.6 or 3.8. The good thing is this motor gets around, my experience has been a stock motor gets about 42 miles to the gallon. And so with this tank, I'm going to guess the range would be somewhere between 120 and 145 miles, depending how it's being driven. There is something I did change, and I highly recommend it. If you come up here, do you see that hydraulic clutch? And then right here, that is a hydraulic clutch from American Dirt Bike. And it just makes, it makes the clutch much softer, and it just makes the bike feel more like a modern motorcycle. To start the motorcycle, you come over here and make sure the kill switch is on. Come down here, make sure the gas is on, and flip the choke on. Flip that up. And you just bump the button on it. Frank White has told me that they have most of the parts for these 4-stroke ATK 605s. Now, one of the things that they had made is this chain buffer. Can you see that chain buffer right in there? They tend to wear out because you have a chain riding on it. Now, one of the things, I think it was Lee at ATK, one of the mechanics, he told me that if you put a bigger sprocket on the front, it will get it up off that buffer. And so if you put a bigger sprocket, they will tend to last longer. So right now I'm running a 17, which is kind of large, but it does make the speeds a little better on the freeway. Now, my experience on the freeway with this bike is that up to 65 is just, it's very good. Now, I'm talking for a dirt bike, okay? Don't expect that to be like a street bike. But the manners are very good at 65. And I was able to push it up to 70, and they were still pretty good. But after I start pushing it up to, I'm gonna say from 72 on up to 80, it starts to get, it's running at a higher RPM than I want to run it. So we could go with even taller gearing, and I think it would probably work quite well. It's still going to be a dirt bike, which is very light, for those speeds, and it would get blown around some. And you are going to get more vibration than like on a road bike.
I've owned two different 1994 ATK 605s, and my experience with the two different bikes was quite different. My first ATK 605 1994 model, it vibrated quite a bit more on the freeway. Now it wasn't much of an issue like in the dirt. I didn't notice it so much there, but the freeway, it vibrated enough that it wasn't pleasant to ride. This 1994 that I recently picked up, it seems to be much smoother. Not sure why, but I'm pleasantly surprised and happy.
Let's go ahead and start the bike, then we'll take it for a ride.
There are a few items that I wanted to address before finishing this review. One is the cam belt. This Rotax motor uses a timing belt instead of a timing chain. Now there are advantages to each of those. The advantage to a timing chain is it probably provides a little better longevity, while the timing belt is easy to change and it allows you to change the cam. One of the more prominent cams that the racers like to use is an 860 cam, and that will tend to move the power up in the higher part of the RPM. I've been told that it has such a steep profile that the valves tend to slam shut, and so that wears out the valve seats faster. There's also the 865 cam. That's the one that comes from ATK stock, and that's a good all-around cam. You could use it for racing, trail riding, whatever, and that's probably why they chose it. There's also a 670 cam. Now, the 670 cam was a motocross cam, and I think one of the advantages to this one is I believe it's unlike the 860 and 865. My understanding is that's a non-interference cam. So if the belt happened to break, you're probably not going to break. Probably not going to damage the head. There's another issue I want to address, and that is the starter clutch. It's called the Sprag clutch. It engages the starter with the motor, and it's a weak point on the motor. They tend to wear out. Now the good thing is they're not extremely difficult or extremely expensive. They're a little bit expensive. And you can, if you have some experience, you could do it yourself. And it will take, I don't know, a good mechanic could probably do it in under an hour. You know, a novice home mechanic, it might take you 3. Final item. Who is this motorcycle for? For me, it's an American icon. I really like the simplicity, the elegance, the quality. In 1994, it was the closest thing to an American-made dirt bike that a person could buy. In closing, I'm going to share a video with you and some photos from years ago on my first ATK. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review.